Hello, good morning. We're going to do some more with piecewise functions today. I'll go through, we'll talk about how to do it algebraically, making sure you understand the concept behind it. And then, of course, we'll make sure that you're straight putting it into Desmos. So this is another piecewise function. It has two different sections. I got a linear section here when x is less than 0, and I have a linear function here if x is greater than or equal to 0. So let's start by graphing it and seeing what it looks like in Desmos. So when we type this in, okay, so put your f of x equals the braces. You have to put your restriction in first, so x is less than 0, followed by a colon. Then put in the actual part of the function that you want, followed by a comma. And then do the same thing for however other many pieces or sections that you have. So now I need to put in when x is... Get my keyboard down here at the bottom. So now I need to put in where x is greater than or equal to 0, which is this part here. And then followed by a colon and then x. So this is what our piecewise function looks like here. So my piecewise function looks like this. And if I hide this for a minute, then I have all of this. So it is a function. It's comprised of two linear sections. So the problem over here, and I'll leave it there, we want to find f of -4 plus f of 10. So I need to figure out which section -4 goes into and which section 10 goes into. So -4 is definitely a number that is less than 0. So we're actually going to be substituting this into the top section of my graph. So I'm going to do this part. So we'll take -4 and it goes into the top section of my graph. So that's going to give me -4 plus 2, and that gives me -2. Then I wanted to find the section f of 10. Take 10, see if it goes into the top section or the bottom section. 10 is a number that's greater than or equal to 0, so it's going to go into the bottom section. So that just leaves us with 10. And -2 plus 10 is 8. So that's how you would do it algebraically. Just make sure you understand how we're taking substitutions and trying to figure out which section of the graph that it goes into. Of course, once you have typed it into Desmos correctly, making sure you have your braces, colons, and commas, you can just type in f of -4 plus f of 10. And notice we got 8. All right, so there's nothing wrong with us trying to solve it algebraically or trying to type it into Desmos. They're both going to give us the same answer. So we're going to go through and try a couple more and see how we do there. So I have another one here. All right, so we're on number 2 on the left-hand side of the screen there. Now, this one is the first one we've seen between yesterday and today, that has 3 different sections. But we're still going to go through and we're going to do the exact same thing. So we're going to type in the 2x plus 3 in Desmos, the -x plus 2, and the +3. I do just want to reiterate the open and closed circles again. This is less than, and it has no equality to it, so that's going to be an open circle. If it has the line underneath it, that's going to be a closed circle, and then this one here is going to be an open circle. So if you flash way back to probably like early middle school when you're on a number line and you were shading left and right, open and closed circle, that's what I mean in regards to that. So this problem wants us to take -2, substitute it in, and then multiply by 3. Take 1.5, plug it in, and then multiply by 2, and then subtract f of 4. We're going to do it all in Desmos because we have this great tool that's going to be able to help us. So if I type this in, we'll type in nice and slowly. We're going to do f of x equals, hit your braces sign. You're going to type in your restrictions, which is x is less than 1, followed by a colon. Then we're going to type in 2x plus 3. Notice each time you put a piece of your piecewise function in, it'll pop up on Desmos. So we're only using the part of the graph that is less than 1. So notice the line does not extend all the way up. Okay, keep going to the next part. This time we're typing in 1 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 2, followed by a colon. And then we're typing in -x plus 2. So that is that little teeny tiny section that has the negative slope that just popped up. And now I need to type in my last section. So we need to put a comma. So we type in x is greater than 2, followed by a colon. And then type in 3. So 3 is just a horizontal line. 3 represents y equals 3. So anything that's y equals a number is just a constant. So that represents this purple section that just popped up. Now, if I want to evaluate this whole piece, you absolutely can do it algebraically, or you can type into Desmos in one fluid step. So I'm going to do 3f of negative 2 plus 2f 1.5 minus f of 4. And we got negative 5. So our answer for number 2 is negative 5. So we use Desmos to help us with that. But by all means, if you want to break it down step by step, there is nothing wrong with that. And last but not least, number 3 down here at the bottom on the left side of my screen. So I'm going to move it up in just a minute here. All right, we're going to do the same thing with number 3. Number 3 has some different sections in it, but that's all right. So let me get rid of this one here. And we're going to type it in. So f of x equals, hit your braces there. We're going to type in x is less than or equal to negative 4, followed by a colon. And then we're going to type in negative 3e to the x power. Okay, so that is that section that we just did right there. That is that section. And then we're going to put a comma. Then I'm going to do the next section. Negative 4 is less than x, which is less than 2, followed by a colon. And then we're going to put in x squared. Right, so notice only that section of the parabola popped up. So the E part we'll get to a little later in the semester. That's continuous exponential growth. This x squared is a parabola. And then the last section that we're typing in, make sure you put a comma. The last section is the linear function. And we'll put colon and negative x plus 6. So this graph has 3 different types of graphs in it. The negative 3e to the x is continuous exponential growth, which we'll get to a little later in the semester. X squared is a parabola, and then negative x plus 6 is a linear function. So this piecewise function is comprised of 3 different types of functions, but that's okay. So then we just type it in. F of negative 5 plus f of 0 minus 7f of 3. And we got our answer, which I will write down in round. So negative 21.02. So take home point, make sure you know how to substitute numbers and expressions into your function. Sometimes you'll get numbers back, sometimes you'll get variables back. If you're typing it into Desmos, you have to put the restriction first, followed by the colon, and then type your function in and put a comma. And then once you do that, you'll be able to use Desmos.